When he announced his retirement, COVID canceled the stop in Lake Louise. So for more on that and for skiers being back in Lake Louise, Kelly Vanderbeek.
The first time the men kicked out of the start gate was 1980. So Andy, you might think it's a bit ho-hum, same old, but it's anything but. The White Circus remained in Europe all of last year, and now that we're finally here, back in North America, the fans and the athletes are excited, and it's palpable. With a little extra reason to celebrate, kicking out of the start before number one will be Manny Osborne-Parody, calling it a career officially in a celebratory manner. But how does it feel to have the longboards on again?
Normally there's a preseason prep and a summer prep to get in the zone and be a fast racer here, and I just chucked them on this morning, and we'll see how it goes. I've done this for quite a while, so it's all good. It'll be a great day.
It'll be a great day. We'll have reason to celebrate and toast Manny in the finish area. And of course the weather, well, it's perfection. Andy?
Yeah, Mother Nature's making up for what yesterday was all about, right? Let's get to the men's downhill with the call. Scott Russell alongside Olympian Brian Stemle.
Hey Andy, it was named Horunum Day by the Stoney Nakoda First Nations. Lake Louise is in the midst of Banff National Park. The railway carved a trail through this part of the country in the 19th century. It's the traditional start of the speed season on the White Circus, Alpine Skiing's World Cup. And today, speed racers will carve their own path to the podium right here in the beautiful Canadian Rockies. And the fans are in attendance. It's been a while since they've seen speed racing at Lake Louise. Vincent Kriegmeier of Austria will lead off today. He won the World Downhill and Super G titles in Cortina this year. Marco Odermatt, the young Swiss star, many-time World Junior champion. He won the World Cup opener, the GS, at Solden. And the Ball of Lightning, Swiss star, Beat Feuz, 4 consecutive Crystal Globes in downhill racing. Only the great Franz has equaled that feat. A look at the most recent past champions of this downhill, which, as you heard, came onto the World Cup in 1980. Thomas Dressen of Germany won the last race. Pre-pandemic in 2019, 4 former champs are in the field today. The only Canadian to win is Jan Hudek in 2007. And how about this, Brian? Getting ready for the retirement run of Manny Osborne-Parody, who stood on the podium 3 times at Lake Louise. He's got the chaps all ready to go on a real good day.
I'm surprised there are jeans under those chaps, because often with Manny, there haven't been, and he's just one of the greatest guys, a life of the party, really has lived life to the fullest, and the Canadian cowboy dressed up in his cowboy gear. He's the second last of the Canadian cowboys, named for that era of great ski racers. One of Canada's best with Eric Gay, Dustin Cook, and Ben Thompson's the only guy. And there's his retirement run, as they're allowed to do on FIS. We've seen Didier Couche. Whoa, I bet he didn't expect to go that far. Didier Couche wore 1930s gear. Julie Mancuso, when she retired, wore a Wonder Woman outfit with a cape. So Manny's gone for the belt buckle, and he'll stop on the way down to greet his coaches and everybody who's helped him along the way, especially the volunteers he mentioned yesterday.
What a great racer, great family guy. Lana is in attendance today. Sloan and Toby, the kids, he skied at 6 World Championships for Canada. And you know what? He won a bronze medal at the World Championships in 2017 in the Super G. Eric Gay won the gold that year, but Manny has been such a great force for the Canadian Cowboys and for Alpine Canada. And give Manny his due. He'll take that final run today, flying Canadian colors, as he should at this great World Cup. All right, time to go racing the downhill at Lake Louise. Vincent Kriegmeier of Austria first out. He is the world downhill and Super G champion. Here we go, Brian.
Okay, here we go. Right off a Sunset jump into Sunset Gully and Sunset Flats. Remember, the race was canceled yesterday. A lot of snow. They spent about 5 hours with winch cats grooming the side of the track out. They don't touch the track where the racers actually go on it. They just keep that smooth at the sides just in case they get wide on the course. For the men's Super G start right here in Lone Pine, and then down to Tickety Chutes, where there's a big jump. So much more terrain. the last couple of years, and especially this year. They have a lot of snow in Lake Louise. The skiing's fantastic up on the upper bowls and back bowls, really spectacular. And Kriegmeyer's not worried about that right now. He's got to worry about these built-in giant humps and hummocks the whole way down coming into Coach's corner. Just has to work all that terrain, try and keep those skis right on the ground. And a waterfall jump into fishnet. This is where Manny fell and ended his career, broke his leg. And man, that was such a vicious injury. Almost lost his leg. He didn't know if he was going to be able to come back from it whatsoever. He'd be able to walk again, and he's done that. Skied a nice retirement run down there, and then a gun barrel, 132 kilometers an hour. A little bit faster in training, and then through Juniper Crossing, timing flats, and into Claire's corner near the bottom. He's working. He's making it look easy, but you can hear him working under there. There's Claire's corner, named after a park warden in the Banff National Park. Beautiful, most beautiful park in our country, I believe, and down to Easy Street, and that looked pretty easy for Vincent Kriegmeyer.
Vincent Kriegmeyer, breakout season in 2021. He was the world champion in the Super G and the downhill, as we say, won the Crystal Globe in the Super G. He sets the time to beat today as the trailblazer.
There he is through the fall-away section. It's really icy in there, really super slick. You wouldn't believe it from the way he's carving those head skis. Looks pretty comfortable there, but it is a slick run down through that middle part of the course.
Lots of snow, yes. First downhill of that first downhill. They were to have two here to open up the season at Lake Louise. All ready to go today. Watch out for this guy, 24-year-old Marco Odermatt. He won 5 gold medals at the World Juniors in 2018. He was second overall to Alexis Pinturault of France in the World Cup standings last year. He can do everything.
Just one of the rising stars in the circuit. Love the way he skis, just such beautiful technique in each of the disciplines. Doesn't really see himself as much of a downhiller, but he can get it done in this event. You have 2 or 3 years of experience on each of these courses, and then you can round into a nice solid downhiller, and he's done that. Just got the beautiful skills in Super G and GS. See how he handles that waterfall bump right there, no problems. Pretty small bump today. What they're trying to do on the World Cup circuit is slow the racers down because they're going at such excessive speeds. So they put these bumps in so the guys can't tuck through them, can't keep great aerodynamics. Their skis are in the air, which is slower. And they're just doing that because of safety. Because if you get up to 140, 150 kilometers an hour, look at it, that becomes super dangerous.
Well, he might not want to downplay what he can do in the downhill. He was 4th at the World Championships in Cortina, close to the podium, and he's running close to Kriegmeyer right now, coming home at Lake Louise.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he's that close, and said he's trained a lot of giant slalom in this summer, not too much downhill, but it's like going to the golf range and hitting irons all day and you haven't pulled out the driver. Well, he's pulled out that driver today and it looks pretty solid.
Odermatt off it by 17/100ths of a second, and he won the opener in the GS on the Glacier at Solden.
There he is, nice and balanced over waterfall. You want to clear that a little bit longer so you land on the downside on the steep part of that slope, but Odermatt just such a great technician, good skills, and yeah, that GS in Solden in October was nasty, and he just destroyed everybody.
Manny Osborne parody. Kriegmeyer leads for now. But it onto this. The Blitz is back. The Kugel Blitz, that is, for Tayat Foyts. Kicks off his Olympic season by aiming to rock the Rockies at Lake Louise. He's next. Welcome back to our coverage of the men's downhill from Lake Louise. Scott Russell with Brian Stemle as the racers ride the lightning in this historic place. Well, this this guy may have been the greatest attacking Viking of them all. Axel Lund-Svendal won his last downhill at Lake Louise in 2015. The two-time Olympic champion, five-time world champion, ruled the roost in the Rockies. Svendal won the downhill here twice, the Super G 6 times in all. Axel Lund-Svendal stood on the podium at Lake Louise 10 times. All-time race wins at this venue since it came onto the World Cup. Svendal's got 8 wins. Herman Meyer, Shafil Jansrud are next with 4 wins apiece. 3 Canadians have won races on home snow. Jan Hudak won the downhill in 07. Manny Osborne Parody and John Kuchera each won a Super G here at Lake Louise. Here's Daniel Hemmetsberger of Austria, and this brings up the point, Brian Stemle, that it is the Olympic season, and when it comes to alpine racing, the Austrians are going to be on their game.
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah.
They always are. Matthias Meyer won in 2014, and it just goes with the territory being Austrian. The Hemmetsberger, could be one of the dark horses. He's coming back from an injury in 2018, torn ACL, MCL, meniscus in his knee. But a real multi-sport athlete, and this guy is so fit and ripped. Loves the ice baths, when your muscles are just aching and you just jump into a nice cold tub filled up with ice. That makes everything feel better, so he's big on that. Big on mountain biking, volleyball, weightlifting, skating, and a pump track. Where he really works that terrain on a pump track in the summer and does the same thing here, although he's off balance and way wide through coach's corner. Just made that gate.
Austrians won the Olympic title in downhill in 2014, courtesy of Matthias Meyer. Then Kjetil Jansrud of Norway won it in 2018 at Pyeongchang. So the Austrians want it back as they head to Beijing 2022. Could this be a guy that could challenge for that title?
Being really aggressive, but maybe trying a little too hard. Sometimes those big muscles and that big power, when there's new snow, you don't have quite the finesse that you need to, so he's got to learn to relax a little bit. He'll be closer to the lead if he does that.
Hemmetsberg crosses in third position for now, so it's still Kriegmeier and Odermatt, 1-2. Vincent Kriegmeier, the world champion, in the driver's seat for now at Lake Louise. He was first out of the gate.
Well, here he is through coach's corner. Just unbalanced coming through there. See his weight gets towards the back of his skis, and outside the blue dye he can do that, but it's not the fastest. You can hear him, he knows it.
Beat Voigt's the undisputed king of downhill racing right now. The first of his 4 consecutive World Cup downhill Crystal Globes came in the 2018 season. His first of 3 victories that campaign came right here at Lake Louise. He also won classics at Wengen and Garmisch that season. At the time, Voigt was racing as the reigning downhill world champion. He won the title in St. in 2017. Here he is after his second downhill victory at Lake Louise.
So consistent last year, only once out of the top 5. And he just knows how to put it together on race day. Just always so smooth and composed.
We always talk about it, Brian. He's not a tall guy, but he's built like a brick and can carry that speed.
Well, he proved that in Kitzbühel when he won both races there last year. Just such a great talent, nice and tight through coach's corner. That's beautiful. Look how smooth that is. You can hear it underneath his feet as well.
40 World Cup podium finishes in downhill racing. Amazing.
All right, 3/10. Can he make it up down at the bottom of the flats? We'll see. It's going to be more difficult for him in January winning those Kitzbühel races. He and his wife are expecting their second child in January, and I can't imagine how difficult that is being on the World Cup Tour, having to juggle a couple of kids.
Tell you what, he's inching closer to Vincent Kriegmeyer as he comes home. The ball of lightning, Beek fights. At the line. Oh, 12/100ths back of Kriegmeyer, Odermatt, and get into second place.
Just so smooth, not quite fast enough, but only 12 hundos in the first race of the year. He'll be spending all evening going over the race results in the different sections to see where he could have made up at 12/100ths of a second. But Kriegmeyer starting number 1, looking pretty good, still in first.
Green light to Siegel of the United States, the 2012 World Junior Champion. He had a good 2021 season. He was second in the downhill at Val Gardena, and he won a race, the Super G at Bormio, originally from Burlington, Vermont.
In those races, he was just so good, and that was in December. Got into January and was still skiing well, won the training run in Kitzbühel, and then in the race, fell in the Hausberg and broke his neck. C7 vertebrae in his neck, cracked that, so he was out for the rest of the year. He switched ahead this year and now has the magician serviceman, Heinz Hammerle. He's been around for a long time, Heinz has. Todd Brooker, Felix Belchik, Bodie Miller, all the greats on head skis, Lindsey Vaughn. Polish those boards up perfectly and always dials them in fast, and this will be a telling interval here for Cochran Siegel. Oh yeah, what's Heinz got in the wax here today? Toko yellow or what?
Just over a 10th off for Ryan Cochran Siegel of the United States. The leader, Vincent Kriegmeyer of Austria. Second, Beek Voits. Marco Odermatt of Switzerland is currently third. On his way home, the American. And at the line, 8/10 off in 4th position. He'll miss the podium today. Looked like a good run developing.
Well, not the greatest gliding skills down at the bottom. Maybe you can blame Heinz for that one, but he'll be back. Such a great technical skier, Super G and GS. Watch out.
So Ryan Cochran Siegel is down in 4th place. Right now, let's get to Kelly Vanderbeek, who is at the bottom of the hill with the race leader.
Reigning world champion, and Super G has been your go-to here, 2 podiums, but downhill sort of had your number. What worked well for you today? You looked solid, but was number 1 an advantage?
Number 1 was not a bad choice. It was still really difficult. The slope is a little bit bumpy, the light is so bad, but I'm really happy about my skiing. It was much better than the training runs, and we'll see what happened. There are also many good skiers on the start, and yeah, we'll see. But of course, I'm really happy about my skiing and about this result so far.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, here is Vincent Kriegmeyer's teammate and rival, Matthias Meyer, the 2014 Olympic champion in the downhill. Then he got a little more technical and won the Olympic gold medal in the Super G in 2018. Meyer has not won the downhill at Lake Louise. He has won the Super G here.
Kriegmeyer talked about the flat light. Up top, it's above tree line, so you don't really get any definition of the snow. And what's underneath there? Just completely flat. Now you get into the trees through Coach's Corner, it becomes a little bit better, and especially with those nets right beside you, it almost reflects off the snow so you can see all the bumps and little ruts that are forming. Oh, little pivot there. Pivoted his skis, so he gets a little bit more direction coming into following down through C-turn, now through gun barrel. You can just picture a gun barrel going straight down there, and it comes rocketing out, and whoa, here we go, Matthias Meyer.
Into the green, and his family's got a history in this part of the world. His dad, Helmut Meyer, won a silver medal in the Super G. His head. His friend has done it again.
If you look on his back there, he's got an airbag. She fell in Val Gardena. That airbag went off and he broke his neck in 2015, but didn't need the airbag today. He stayed on his feet beautifully and has a lead right now. Good run from the Olympic champ.
Well, for Max Franz of Austria, Lake Louise is a place of first. He first appeared on the World Cup here a dozen years ago. He first stepped on the podium here in 2012. And Franz was first in the downhill at Lake Louise in 2018. Max will try to be fast and first again today.
And we're in Lake Louise right now. It's the men's downhill. Scott Russell, Brian Stemle with the call.
Thanks, Sandy. Did you say Western was going to the Vanier Cup? Hey, the World Cup season is in its infancy. The Olympic Winter Games in Beijing just over 2 months away. Italy's Dominic Paris was becoming a force in downhill racing when he won at Lake Louise in 2013. The big man had already won the Hahnenkamm at Kitzbühel and tamed the tough Stelvio track at Bormio. Dominic Paris served notice in North America that he was on his way to becoming the greatest Italian speed racer of all time. He is a big guy. They call him the Dominator. 32-year-old Dominic Paris of Murano in the South Tyrol. Top 3 in the downhill World Cup standings 5 times. He's got 15 downhill wins on the World Cup.
Oh, man. A little sketchy coming through there. Talked about that flat light. Just can't find exactly where your balance needs to be sometimes, and he got thrown into the back seat. Pick up a ton of speed down to tickety shoots. And once he gets that big body, that big frame going, watch out, it just doesn't stop.
You know, downhill wins, that's tied for 4th all time with the great Herminator, Herman Meyer, and Franz Heinzer.
And 3 of those have come in Kitzbühel, so this guy really knows how to rock. And he's going to have to down here. Not the greatest technician, so that C-turn right there and fall away where it's really slick. He'll have to be right on his edge, carving perfectly. After Juniper crossing, those nets in there, they actually remove them during the evening so that wildlife, deer and rabbits and other varmints can run through and keep it open so they don't get caught in the track. They actually open up that Juniper crossing there.
25 leads the way, all-time World Cup downhill wins. The man that Dominic Paris might next catch is Stefan Eberharder, who has 18 World Cup downhill wins. Paris is not going to win today. He's in 5th spot now, nearly a second back of the race leader, Matthias Meyer of Austria.
Well, last year was his comeback year after the knee injury in 2020. This is up top where he gets into a little bit of problems. That's how you ski when you can't ski arms straight out to the side for balance like a tightrope walker. Not necessarily the fastest, but it's a long season. You have to really nurse it through these first couple of months before the Olympics.
You want to talk about the depth of Austrian alpine skiing and speed racing. This is a guy that couldn't make the Austrian team, so he said, what the heck, I'm switching to Germany. Roman Baumann is back on track.
Yeah, just found himself a German girlfriend and off he went. Got married and they have a couple of kids. He's from St. Johann and he was fantastic last year. The Germans really came on quite strongly last year. Roman Baumann, Andrea Sander, Thomas Dressen, their number 1 is out. Probably out till January, still suffering from a knee injury. But Roman's been super consistent.
Well, he was thought to be part of a bright future for the Austrian team, the world junior champion in downhill, way back in 2004, but all of a sudden that's 17 years ago, and he's still going.
That's really amazing that he's 35 years old, still ticking. Johan Clary, the oldest in the race, 40 years old. Not sure how these guys keep doing it at such a high age and all the injuries that each one of them have had. Incredible, really. His coach, Christian Schweiger, mentioned he's very focused this year after all that success last year, really focused on summer training, and he's been skiing well. These numbers here towards the back now, of course, is getting a little more rough, and that's why a lot of the racers chose early numbers. Kriegmeier chose number 1 and sitting in second.
Baumann is into 5th place, nearly 8/10 off for the German star as you get a look at Matthias Meyer, who continues to be in the leader's box down at the bottom of the hill at Lake Louise.
Yeah, skied pretty well, nothing special. Didn't look that great, but he was 3rd in the Lake Louise Super G here in 2010, and he'll have that chance to do it again tomorrow in the Super G.
One of 4 former champions of the downhill at Lake Louise who are in the field today. This is 32-year-old Max Franz. He won at Lake Lou in 2018 in the downhill.
Okay, only have a quarter of a second now. That's all right. He loves all these new rolls that they put in through wee waxy flats here and down at the very well. What like Val Gardena said he can handle it smoothly and have no problems on it. Back issues that he's had before not causing him any problems so far.
Now you mentioned Val Gardena. That's the site of his only other World Cup win. He won the downhill there in 2016. Max Franz looked very sharp, Brian, in training here for this race. He was 1st and 3rd in the 2 training runs that they got in.
Yeah, 148.93. It's a little bit off the pace, and okay, only 1900s. Man, the Austrians have really come to play today, haven't they? Whoa, tipped inside there. Fairly flat and easy down here, but if you lose that discipline of dipping your inside shoulder down, you lose contact with your outside ski, and that's never great. You have to keep those shoulders level, even in that bullet tuck.
Big game player Max Franz, world bronze medalist in the downhill in San Moritz in 2017, 5th today for now, just over a half a second back of that man, Matthias Meyer, his teammate. Not happy.
Not happy, Bob. Not happy. But that's the way it goes sometimes in downhill. A little bit of a speed check there. Coming down into C-turn. Well, you can hear the frustration when he skied through the finish.
The attacking Viking, Alexander Rameau-Kilde, the 2020 overall World Cup champion, and his season ended with a bang in January of 2021 when he tore it up, his right knee, in Super G training in Austria.
He seems to be coming back pretty strong, won the first training run. It's been 10 months since he's had a racing suit on, and it's been quite a journey. Now, I'm not one to gossip, Scott, but the big news is...
Are you going to say Michaela Schifrin?
That he's dating Michaela Schifrin. That's what everybody wants to know. They want to know the gossip.
Well, I saw a picture of the 2 of them together at Times Square in New York, so, I mean, where there's smoke, there might be fire.
Yeah, they're, I think, a great couple. Really, just 2 solid people, can help each other out. When you're the best in the world, getting tips from Michaela Schifrin, that can't hurt either.
Her race, the GS today at Killington, Vermont, was canceled. They had a ton of snow and high winds there, and it blew the racers off the track in the first run of that GS. They'll try to get the slalom in tomorrow in Killington.
Well, the problem with the wind there was it was affecting the timing. Sofia Goggia came through and her time didn't stop. And I thought Schifrin came through and like a snowball stopped the timing, so they had all sorts of problem with the winds there, and hopefully the slalom will go tomorrow. He looked like his old self at Copper Mountain training a couple weeks ago. Looks like his old self again. It's not quite there, but that takes a while to get back up to speed when he's been out for so long.
A second off it for Alexander Amot Kilde of Norway.
Amazing, he's been off for 10 months, has a pretty good run, only a second back, and he's disappointed, but that's just kind of the winner that he is. He expects to win all the time.
Well, the race leader is two-time Olympic champion Matthias Meyer of Austria, Andy, looking for his first win at Lake Louise in the downhill.
Extra, Reid's all about it. Jeff Reid, that is. He's been with the national team since 2016 and has a natural penchant for the mountain. He takes his run at Lake Louise after the break when World Cup downhill continues.
And there's Team Canada chef de mission Katrina Lemaidon, the two-time Olympic speed skating champion who's in attendance at the downhill today. She'll lead the team to Beijing 2022. Now, we've been celebrating the career of Invermere BC's Manny Osborne Parody today. He took his retirement run before the race. The last Canadian man to step on the podium here. Manny was second in the downhill in 2014. He won the Super G in a bit of a surprise at Lake Lou. That was in 2009. How about the Canadian racers all time at Lake Louise? This is a story of Canadian cowboys. Canadians didn't get on the podium until 2003 when Eric Gay won silver in the downhill. 7 podium finishes in all, 1 downhill win, 2 Super G wins. Manny Osborne Parody, 3 podium finishes at Lake Louise. There's Manny with the family, Lana, and the 2 children, Sloan and Toby. A nice day for them at Lake Louise. And here come the Canadians. And these guys are all 24, I think, Brian. The Kinder Canucks, you call them.
Yeah, the Wolfpack, they're pretty young, but up and coming. Oh no, man, that's exactly where Manny fell. And Cam, my goodness. That was really close to falling. He made all the gates, so hey, keep going, why not? But that was almost disaster. Remember, he's just coming back from a torn ACL. December 13th last year, so he had to watch all of his buddies from his couch last year. That really killed him, he said, but added some motivation because they did so well. And he's been skiing well, had a great preparation cycle leading up to this, Saspé and pit stop, but it's a massive mistake for a massive guy. He's a big dude.
Yeah, Cam crashed out of that downhill at Val d'Isère in December of 2020, as you mentioned. From the Whistler Mountain Ski Club, ranked number 1 in the downhill in the NORAM in 2020. Cam Alexander. Here's the next one, Jeffrey Reid, the son of Ken Reid, the crazy Canuck, and he was the top Canadian in the downhill rankings on the World Cup last season.
Well, he's a beast as well. He's really made massive improvements in his strength and conditioning throughout the summer, 6'2", and really followed in the same footsteps and following the same path as his dad. Got a lot of miles on this track. Fun to be at home, and he's a little off the pace right now.
Jeffrey Reid of the Banff Alpine Racers across the line on home snow here at Lake Louise. Well, the next Canuck up nearly broke onto the podium at the World Championships in the Super G. 25-year-old Brody Seeger was 4th in that World Championship race.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So close to the podium. And really, I just think he's one of the best Canadian skiers, if not in this group. He's pretty good all time. Got that new helmet donning today. Had a fundraising initiative for ALS because his dad Mark was diagnosed with the disease in 2012. So raised about $15,000, and Tyra Columbine designed the helmet, and now he's wearing it through the finish.
Well, this guy just keeps on going. 34-year-old Ben Thompson of Invermere. He skis without a lot of support as an independent.
Yeah, it's really been tough for Ben. He skied with a partially torn ACL and MCL last season. And doesn't have any support, as he said, as a fundraising campaign as well, GoFundMe, and his dad's always here painting the blue lines on the course that you see. Coached the Canadian women and the Canadian men back in the 90s. And Ben just says, never say die, loves the sport so much and tries so hard. One of the greatest athletes on the Canadian Tour.
Here's Jack Crawford, the 24-year-old, originally from Toronto. His sister Candice raced on the Canadian team, a member of the Georgian Peak Ski Club. Talk about close calls. 4th in the combined race at the World Championships in Cortina.
Well, it's just a matter of time, I think, before Jack finds himself on the podium. Just needs to find that right course that suits his smaller stature. 1.34 outs, not too bad on this course. But a really competitive guy, even in spike ball or playing cards or whatever the game may be. This guy wants to win at anything.
Silver medalist at the World Juniors in 2016 in the Super G, bib number 52 for Jack Crawford, and he's going to get points today. Broderick Thompson, the 27-year-old from Whistler, British Columbia. His sister Marielle Meyer is an Olympic champion in ski cross.
Well, Broderick coming back from a knee injury. Kelly Vanderbeek mentioned to me that Broderick's taken his knee brace off for the first time, so he really kind of a freeing feeling. He doesn't need that anymore, and it's a real mental hurdle for him just to have that off and know that knee's 100%. Kind of like a teenager taking off their braces and smiling for the first time. You really see that sense of relief with Broderick.
Well, here are the final results in the first downhill of the season. 2014 Olympic champ Matthias Meyer wins it, just ahead of current world champ Vincent Kriegmeyer. 4-time World Cup Crystal Globe winner Beat Voits is 3rd. Here's the downhill champ with Kelly.
It was, of course, a big goal for me to start with a good race in this season. I'm very, very happy about this result, and yeah, it is good for our team. Vincent got the 2nd place, and we know that we are one of the fastest now.
Early, but here are the overall World Cup standings. Marco Odermatt takes over the lead. He won the first GS of the season, was 4th today. Odermatt finished 2nd last season to Alexis Pinturault of France, who won for the first time. Things will change once the technical racing begins. All right, familiar faces on the podium at Lake Louise. Brian Voits, fast lane out of the gate.
Well, good solid start for Beat, and a familiar spot on the podium where he seemed to finish almost every race last year, just except a couple, so amazing for him.
Vincent Kriegmeyer, the world champion, will be a factor in the Super G again tomorrow.
Well, number 1, and here's teammate Matthias Meyer say, we know we're fast now. You never know in training, but when you're skiing with the Austrians and against a bunch of others, you're probably pretty quick, and Meyer was right there.
When it's the Olympic season, you know Matthias Meyer, a 2-time gold medalist, will come out to play. He wins it. First time he wins the downhill at Lake Louise.
Well, it's a good way to start off the season, and I'm hoping that the conditions stay perfect. The sled dogs and net monkeys did a great job preparing this course. They were up all night, side slipping it, made it perfect. Those trophies designed by a local artist, actually drawn the course etched right in them. That's beautiful.
The Super G at Lake Louise tomorrow. We'll have it late night on road to the Olympic Games. Canadian skiers have won this race twice on home snow in the Rockies. Well, the winter start is officially underway at Lake Louise, Andy, and Austriace wins it. The Super G gets the green light next.